This has been the most efficacious weight loss journey I've ever experienced in my whole entire life. Now, I've documented weight loss before, but this one is different. I say that because it has brought me far more benefits than I had anticipated. I used 5 strategies, continue to do so, and still enjoy the success to date. I'm looking to share them with you, but before I do, I wanted to quickly mention that I had been quite diligent with my diet and my workout routine. I had protocols in place, they had brought me great success, but then something shifted. The weight was piling on, and with the weight loss came frustration. So I would push myself, restrict myself, be miserable, but I would see some temporary results. Some weight would drop off, and then in no time, the weight would come thicker, faster, harder, smarter, more AI, which would frustrate me to no end. And then the confidence started to be chipped away, chipped away, chipped away, chipped away. And then the clothes started to be ill-fitting. Those investment pieces in the wardrobe were stuck there at nil appreciation, depreciation, at nil appreciation. So obviously I had to step back and I started thinking to myself, I beg your most highest of pardons. And then things shifted for me. I began to recognize and understand that perimenopause had changed the landscape for me. Those protocols that I had in place were futile, and I needed to shift gears into these 5 strategies that I will share with you today. The first thing I want to mention is food. Now, I went from restriction to nutrition. And to understand that, I had to understand the transition. So perimenopause is simply your estrogen is fluctuating up until it finishes its descent. Now, estrogen has a direct correlation between how you use your energy and how it's stored as fat, especially visceral fat. That's why I was looking the way I was. And with that in mind, I needed to support it. So I focused on healthy fats. You need fats for hormone production. The fats I continue to demolish on a daily basis: avocado, ghee, butter, very fatty meat, and avocados. Those were the pillars of my fuel because I went from glucose to ketones. The other thing I wanted to talk about was single ingredient foods, and I focused on protein. I say protein, natural protein from the butchers, not from the supermarket. I ate a lot of and continue to eat a lot of beef, chicken, lamb, liver, and anything else that I can get from the butcher shop. Lucky for me, I'm a good cook, and lucky for me, I love meat. So this came naturally. It wasn't a struggle. I forgot to mention eggs. I eat a lot of eggs, and I make them in so many ways. They're really nutrient dense. They have everything you need apart from vitamin C, I believe. All this protein I'm mentioning is 100% bioavailable. That's why I have mine from the butchers and I don't take powders. Absorption is another story. If you're not looking after your microbiome, I can't guarantee the bioavailability will be at its peak. I also want to mention I focused on vegetables that support estrogen detoxification. That's a topic for another day. So I prioritized sulfur foods, onions, garlic. I prioritized cruciferous vegetables, and I also prioritized any vegetables that were within my vicinity that were low glycemic index. So yeah, low glycemic index foods in a nutshell. I also focused on fermented foods. This is quite vital because we have something in the gut called estrobolome, which impacts elimination of the detoxified estrogen. So kombucha, sauerkraut, kefir. I don't do yogurt, I do kefir, but yogurt is just as good. I focused on that, and that helped with the brain, mental health, anhedonia, depression, whatever you want to call it. When it came to fruit, I focused on berries and avocado, and I've been eating all the berries that I can have and I can access. Blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, any form of berry you can eat for days because it's low glycemic index. You will note that I'm not talking about high glycemic index foods because they don't support estrogen detoxification. And I don't want to be estrogen dominant because it brings about PMS, weight gain, as you can see, and all the other nasty stuff that I was experiencing that I didn't want to experience. The next thing I want to talk about is movement. Now, there's so many forms of movement, and none of them is bad. You need to do low intensity, high intensity cardio, weight training, resistance training. You just need to focus on something that you will enjoy because it will be a good way to reconnect with your body. I've been hula hooping, I've been walking, I've been dancing, I've been weight training, I've been boxing, anything that will bring you joy and allow you movement in a way that is fun and you can enjoy and reconnect with your body, because disconnection in perimenopause is rife. So you need anything and everything that you can get to do that reconnection. I focused on that. So it became a form of support. And I feel like it's helped with my mental health, your endorphins and all that stuff. The other thing I wanted to talk about is fasting. Now, I've been fasting for majority of my life. Way back when I was in uni, which is a long time ago in Bethlehem, I'd simply get up, shower, not even wear makeup, out the door, straight to uni. And fasting allowed me the lens to examine my behaviors as well. Now, bear in mind, when you're eating nutrient-dense foods like the ones I've just talked about, you won't need to eat as often and as much. So it will allow you to go longer. So before, I examined that I was snacking and getting hungrier, but now I could go longer. So I started to explore, and I still explore prolonged fasts, 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, and more recently 80 hours. This is a perfect way to allow your digestive system to rest and allow your body to heal through autophagy. That's a topic for another day. And through the healing, you reconnect with yourself. You examine your behaviors, you examine your eating habits. You begin to understand if you're eating through force of habit, emotional eating, or out of nutrition. That lens will magnify those habits for you. The other thing I wanted to talk about is staying curious. This is vital and very important, especially if you're in your perimenopausal stage or whatever stage that you are in. You need to stay curious and educate yourself about the transition, the hormones, how they're impacted, estrogen, testosterone, serotonin, endorphins, insulin, which is mightily important, especially if you're in your weight loss journey. And you can do that by educating yourself. You can listen to books. I prefer listening to reading. You can listen to podcasts. You can follow people on Instagram who are credible. You can read books. You can read medical journals. All these things are massively gonna be important for your journey, for you to be fortified in your journey and for you to be empowered so that you can fully understand all the ingredients that you're eating and how they're impacting you. You will need to expand that curiosity to your home, your utensils, what you wear, what you're eating, what you're exposing your body to, because there are synthetic estrogens out there. That is mightily important. So I'm reading a lot, especially to do with estrogen, especially to do with books, to do with food. I'm being very curious. I'm trying to empower myself because with knowledge comes power. The last and final thing I wanted to talk about is being gentle with yourself. You're going through a transition. God knows how long it will take. You don't need negative self-talk and you don't need to be hard on yourself. But through these strategies, good nutrition, movement, fasting, and being knowledgeable, you're able to be kinder to yourself, to allow yourself that space to navigate this transition. You'll have good days, you'll have bad days. But if you're not kind to yourself, if you're restricting yourself, if you're pushing yourself, you'll create an internal environment that you don't want to be in. And that's where the depression comes in. So quick recap. With food, I focused on low glycemic index foods, single ingredient foods, nutrient dense foods. Movement, I'm doing all. There's none that is bad. Your body will appreciate any of them, but you need to vary them and you need to make sure you enjoy the movement. I focused on fasting. You need to reconnect with your body and examine your habits. Fasting offers you that lens. I focused on being curious and I focused on being kind to myself. I will be doing another video focusing on all the other symptoms that came as a shock to me that were all perimenopausal related. So if you're interested in that, stick around. I hope these strategies bring you great success and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.